Hello all. For much of the pips, I would like to show you my pip decks that I have. I have 10 decks that are pippish, that are considered a pippish. And the first one would be a Polish edition of the Visconti's Forza. I got this second hand and I don't know much about the artist or the creator of this deck. I fell in love with the pastel watercolors of this representation. I really enjoy the visual feeling of this deck. It's just so beautiful, and I'm still learning to read pip decks, so I don't use this deck very often. I only ever use it for readings for myself. My next deck would be another second-hand deck. I don't know much about this deck either. I don't know the artist name. I don't have any book to go with it. It's just something that I found as I was browsing through the second-hand pages, and I just like the images. I especially love this dark purple sword suit. My third deck is a Lo Scarabeo deck, the Tarot of the Master. It's a beautiful deck in my opinion. It's a reproduction of an old deck. It has minors that are more illustrated than a typical pip deck. There is a lot of additional information that you can go on, that you can read intuitively. I just love the visual of this deck. I love that it looks used. It has these markings as if it was a very well worn and very well loved deck. My next deck is the Truth Seekers Tarot. This is the original version. It's being republished, and Kelly from the Truth in Story has a nice review, has just done a very nice review of this deck. The pips are very interesting because, for example, in the Suit of Pentacles, some are depicted out in nature, some are within a church, for example, and there is really no rhyme or reason which is which. And here for the cups you can see a table, here it's a ship, here it's a building, and I just can't make any sense of when one is used and when the other. Here you can see the differences again for the Suit of Swords. Again, out in nature, in front of a building, inside of a building. And the ones in a jungle, near a volcano, and in a field. The next pip deck, I consider a pip deck, is my Quantum Tarot. This is a very interesting deck. It has some faces, some illustrations in the cards besides the swords, the pentacles, and the cups and the wands. But still, I wouldn't consider this a cynic deck. It's very interesting to read with this deck. It has a very special voice, and it's a very manly and masculine deck, I would say. The next deck is Dare Jen's China Tarot. I first saw this deck on Champion of Coins channel, and she has a great review of this deck, so please check it out if you are interested. I love the coloring, the tone of this deck. It's the majors are just amazingly depicted. I this is the only deck where I read reversals, and only for the minors. So this is a Los Carabeo deck, and the cardstock is very slippery, and whenever I drop these cards and pick them up, I would put them back in the deck as they come, and then I would read with them in the position that they are in. For example, here I would read the dark bottom with the lighter top again. Similarly, here I would read the swords as downwards energy, this one as an upwards pointing energy. So this is the only deck where I do utilize reading reversals in some way. My next deck would be a very popular deck. It's the Wild Unknown. Here you can see also the pips. This, I think it's a very popular and well-known deck, so I don't need to introduce anyone, I think, to this deck. I love this Seven of Swords. I love this fox. It's just so cute. Okay, some consider the Thought deck a pip deck as well. Here the minors are represented in a specific way, but still they are not scenic depictions. So I trimmed this deck, and here I really like the way they look, these cards now. And I have two more. This one is called the Ludwig Tarot. It has very pretty artwork. I don't read very often with this deck, but it's fairly new, so I'm still just getting used to it. We are just familiarizing ourselves with each other. And my last pip deck is a playing card deck, which is in this cute little bag. I keep it in this bag, and this deck I modified. It's a very small deck, and I like to take it with me whenever I travel. And this was a very thin cardstock, so I rebagged the